Somebody's gonna have to put the wheel back on. I've got a new tire, chain, and rear sprocket. Well, before we put you away, may as well do a little handheld here. We're on this would be the route to Pierce Meadow and Eagle Lakes. You know, it's doable. First gear is pretty high. First gear is pretty high. Today's the 91. Today, I'm going to put on a new rear tire. And it's not completely worn out yet. I just want to get a new tire on here so I've got great grip. It still has tread. It hasn't quite reached the warning marks. Let's take a look. It's an xr600r trials tire. That's a 4-ply tire. And as you can see, it still has a decent amount of tread on it. I'd like to run it further, but it's really close. I'm putting on the same kind of tire. At the same time, I'm going to change out the sprocket. This is a 48 tooth hybrid sprocket, and I'm going to put on a 45 tooth. Gear it a little higher. The 91's not required to do so much trail work, and so I can get by with a higher gearing. So let's get to the work. Okay, there you go. They have aluminum spacers that come with the Warp 9 wheels, and they tend to stick on the axle. So that's what I'm dealing with here. We'll get over that. From the year 2010, the bearings in both front and rear wheels are really small ball bearings. The hub itself is patterned after a CRF 450. Get the rim lock up inside the tire. Here we've got some Euro paste mounting compound. This is what I use to help the tire slip on and off. Okay, let's see if we can get that tire off of there. I'm starting here at the wheel lock, and I like to do this with the sprocket still on there so I can slip the tire tool down under there and hold things. First thing we'll get is the tube out of here. This was a good tube. I'm not sure it held air perfectly, so I'm not going to use it over. I do it all from the one side. Getting the little one in there. There you go. If you're struggling to get a tire on or off, you need to take a second look at what you're doing and figure out where you're going wrong. Otherwise, it's not going to come off easy. So here we've got a brand new IRC to go on there. These IRCs are a tremendous value. You can pay twice as much for a tire with the same kind of tread, and I'm certainly finding good results with it. Great traction with these. I mean, long lasting on the road. So you take it down to about 20 pounds when you're off-road on a rocky road, dirt road. And of course you run it up at 32 on the street. Okay, let's see how far we can get with this. I want to get the first bead over the rim, and I've got to get it to incorporate the rim lock. Okay, bead number 1 is in place. We have to check our rim lock periodically. We're still in good shape with that. And it's time for the tube. Some people put the tube inside the tire carcass before they even start to slip it over the rim. I don't do that. I put it in now. So let me show you how. You've got your tire half mounted. You've got your tube with a little bit of air in it. No pressure whatsoever, just a little bit of air. And you need to feed it through here. Now, in order to make it easier for me to put my hands in here, I'm going to pull the bead off and get it outside the rim here. Okay, so now I've got as much opening there as possible. Got myself some little helper pieces of wood here. First thing I want to do is get the valve stem in there, in through the hole. I've got these pieces of wood just to make it not quite so tough on my hands. Kind of hold this up. With my space to work in here, I'm gonna route the valve stem right through the hole in the rim strip and through the rim itself, so that we don't lose our tube inside of there. I'm putting the nut on it, just getting it started on the threads. Now that's the end of our little helper blocks. Now it's a matter of placing the tube inside the carcass of your tire. place it down inside the rim. And at this point, you want your tube to sit naturally. You don't want your valve stem all cocked in there. So if you have to rotate the tire on the rim to help the tube straighten out, do so. And this is a good time to get a look and a feel to make sure that it's doesn't feel kinked up in any way. A little more Euro paste might be helpful at this point, since we kind of rubbed it off of there. This is the same paste that they use at the tire shop for automotive tires, and they water it down. Okay, so I start out at the rim lock because I want to make sure I'm getting the tire in position relative to the rim lock. In order to do that, I push the rim lock all the way up in there. Right now I have some interference with the tire, so I can't push it. I don't know if you can see that, but I now have the rim lock where I can push it up inside the tire. A little more Euro paste on the tough edge here. It's where the tire gets hard to put on. Where the tire tools come into play. Tire tools are usually sold in sets, but I've found that having 3 makes all the difference. What's going on right here, right now, is we don't have the tire properly positioned within the dish of the rim. So you got to make sure you got that to get this to go smoothly into place. And what I meant by that is the underside. It's that simple. Shouldn't have to struggle with it. If it's taking you an hour and a half to slip a tire on, you're doing something wrong. This is the time when you want to inspect down the inside of the bead. Make sure you don't have the tube pinched at all. So we're just going to get a look at that, and then we'll go air it up. I like to fill the tire up to about 60 pounds or so to make sure that it seats properly. Okay, 60 pounds. That's got our wheel lock all pushed out, valve stem protruding through as far as it can go. All right, next we're going to change sprockets. I've got a 48 tooth on here, and I'm going to switch to 45. I'm using what's called a hybrid sprocket. It's aluminum and steel, so it cuts down on weight and it's long lasting. I got a 44 tooth here, so I'm taking 4 teeth off of this thing. Because the 1991 no longer serves as rough a duty now that I've got Nicky, I need a little higher gearing, make freeway cruising a little better. You know, I'll still be good in first gear. Okay, so let's get to the changing of the sprocket. So we are going to use the old bolts over. You know, they've got washers, lock washers, and a locking nut. Plus, you've got your Loctite. Now we're going to have to tighten these up. Okay, that's how you tighten them. I got 5 more to do. Okay, now I want to balance the wheel a spot here that's heavy, and that's where the wheel lock is, the rim lock. So you want to put some weight across from that. Now you're aware that we've got the valve stem over here. So this is a guessing game to start with. I'm going to try a 1 ounce weight across from the wheel lock. Still pretty heavy on the rim lock side, so we'll go with a 2 ounce weight across from it. Now it ended up at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Ended up right at the bottom again. Okay, so I think we need an 1.5 ounces across from it. And now it has ended up right at the bottom. I think that's just coincidence. What we're looking for is to have it stop randomly. Last time there it stopped at 11:30. And there it stopped at 1:30. And directly at 6 o'clock. And I think that's it. 1.5 ounces over here is going to do it. These weights hold on with an Allen screw for a set screw, and I have to put Loctite on that. So I'm going to go about installing those right now. So there you go. We've got a finished wheel, brand new tire and tube, balanced. It's a Warp 9 wheel. And it has a trick sprocket, some trick weights. It's just plain trick all the way around. IRC 418 trials tire, looking good. Okay, let's see if I have to struggle with this or not. One thing about this particular setup is you don't have those lockers on here. I've got these Cycle Wizard snail adjusters, and they're so thick you couldn't have those on there. You didn't think I was going to be able to do it sitting down, did you? Okay, I've got the adjusters on 7. We don't know what we're going to need with the chain because the sprocket is smaller. I might even have to take a link out. Well, the 14 and 48 chain is too long, and as opposed to cutting it, I just went and got a new chain, so I have to fit a new chain on. Okay, so I got my chain adjuster set on right about 7. And I can see where I want to cut it. I've been to get a chain and I've cut a chain, and now I've got a chain to fit. I prefer a non-O-ring chain as far as being able to lubricate it, but I hate the mess, so lately I've kind of been going with, depending what the purpose of the bike is. OHV, I don't want an O-ring chain on because I can lube it, and I wash that every time anyway. Okay, good. Let's give that a little more. So with all this sprocket change comes a chain whole change up. We're changing sprockets because somebody's gonna have to put the wheel back on. We're changing sprockets because